We live in an illusory world. That is, that and I believe this has been proven quite true through quantum physics, that this world that we live in, this 3D or 4D dimensional world that we experience through our limited senses, is an illusion. That in fact, when you get down to the quantum level, the subatomic level of reality, it doesn't behave in any way the way that the material reality behaves. And if you were to blow up an atom the size of this building, there would be mostly just space. So we are made up of atoms and subatomic particles, electrons. And these electrons behave in ways that nothing else that we know of behaves except the supernatural. We find ESP amongst electrons, and we find the most interesting thing that there is no separation at the subatomic level. Everything is one. There's no difference between one electron and another. And they're all encoded with the same information that would allow them to replicate the whole universe, it seems. This is theory, but this is good quantum theory. And this is exactly what mystics have been trying to tell us for so many years, that the world is an illusion and that the real world and universe is a non-physical. And that's where we come from, and that's where we go. But most of us are totally unaware of where we came from, why we came here, what we're supposed to do while we're here, what's going to happen when we leave here, and what we're supposed to do when we get there. So we're really like blind people groping around with these feeble little senses to determine what reality is. And if you think about it, the eyes can see very limited spectrum of light. The ears can hear very, very limited spectrum of sound. Our taste is very practically worthless for determining the nature of reality. Touch is pretty, useless also. We really are like ants crawling on the back of an elephant. We have no idea that we're even on an elephant. We have to use extraordinary other abilities that we have built into ourselves, into our bodies, to really penetrate this illusion and see what is on the other side. And that's what shamanism is all about. The opening of the third eye is the way that shamans and psychics are able to transverse our reality and see through the illusion of the physical reality. The shamans are actually communicating with the consciousness of the DNA molecule. That DNA molecule has consciousness. DNA is an extraordinary mystery. It is so complex that we can barely understand it. It has been called a code, a text. Parts of the DNA molecule have been called robots and self-replicating robots. It is extraordinarily sophisticated and complex. It operates on two different languages. The DNA language, which has 4 letters, A, C, G, and T. And then the language of the amino acids, no, the proteins, I'm sorry. And there are 20 letters in that language. And the only way that DNA can create life, and of course the same DNA molecule is in every living thing, in the cell of every living thing on Earth. It just depends, the difference is how much code there is in that particular life form to create a human or a toad or a oak or whatever. And they can't do anything, DNA can't do anything without deciphering, translating the codes from the 20 letters alphabet over here and the 4-letter alphabet over here. So somehow a translator got put in place. And the translator is our enzymes. And without the enzymes, it wouldn't work at all because the two languages can't communicate with each other. So we have two sets of languages. We have the translator mechanism, and that is how this DNA is able to work. Problem with DNA is that when Francis Crick, who was the co-discoverer of the double helix shape of the DNA molecule, when he studied the history of DNA, he realized that there was a big problem, that DNA had never changed in the 3.8 billion years that DNA has been on this planet, because there are fossilized bacteria that are exactly like today's bacteria that are 3.8 billion years old. There is no difference between those bacteria. There has never been any other forms of DNA found, and DNA just simply appeared here about 3.8 billion years ago. So Francis Crick concluded that this either was done by what happened by chance, as we're told by science, or it didn't. So he ran very sophisticated computer models to try to determine the odds of such a complex organism being put together by accident, say by a lightning bolt or by just chemical reactions. And he discovered that the odds of that happening were greater than the number of all the atoms in the universe. So he concluded wisely that we could rule out DNA as being an accidental thing. So then the question is, okay, where did it come from? If it didn't evolve here, and if it wasn't created by accident, where did it come from? And he created the theory of directed panspermia, which merely says that DNA was sent here by higher intelligence long time ago, and that life on Earth was seeded from other life forms elsewhere in the universe. Now, since that time, by the way, it's also known that while he was trying to understand the form that DNA took, he took LSD to open his mind to understand such things. So he was also exploring in shamanic ways. But so we have now NASA, who has twice announced that DNA comes from outer space. The first time was with the Mars meteorite, where they found nanobacteria, fossilized nanobacteria. That was pretty much poo-pooed by the scientific community. And then in August of 2004, they found another meteor that they said, this one was from Europe, the other one was from I think the Antarctic. And they found the same thing, but much more convincing, fossilized bacteria, and made another big press conference saying that they found fossilized bacteria on another meteor, but this one they don't know where it came from. God knows it could have been flying through space for 1 billion years. So we do know that DNA exists, and the bacteria that they found is exactly like the bacteria that you find here on Earth, with the exception that it has different isotopic readings that you do not find on Earth. So definitely alien DNA. NASA is telling this. Dr. Francis Crick, Nobel laureate, told us this in his book, Life Itself. You know, I think it's about time that we recognize that where our origins are from, and they're not from here, we're all from out there someplace. And if DNA exists elsewhere, then there is definitely some form of life out there waiting for us to discover, except that I think they discovered us first.